fat side down.
Okay.
And then maybe halfway through the cook, flip it over. If you cook it fat side down the entire time, you won't get the bark.
Right.
You won't get that bark.
Or the juices that come through it from the fat, right?
Well, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of marbling in these briskets, and I've never had an issue with that. No matter what.
Okay.
No matter what. But yeah, if most of the heat is coming from the bottom, I would try fat side down and then flip it over halfway through so you can still get that nice bark.
Okay.
Right, do you wrap or you keep it open the whole time while it's cooking?
I wrap them at different. It depends on what it's doing and the way it looks and where it is in the cook. You know, I like to look for a certain amount of color. And again, I cook a little different, so it's getting hotter and hotter toward the end of the cook. When I open the pit and I see bubbles, like it is obviously bubbling on top, I'll go ahead and wrap it because you don't want to go too far. You don't want to lose too much. You want to wrap it at a point where it's still going to have a lot of integrity and you're going to have a lot of nice flavor. So we're going to slice this thing up.
And you're going more by look than you are by temperature?
Yes.
Okay.
By the way it looks. Because I can look at it and tell where it is in the cook.
Are you trying to like render the fat on top before you wrap it?
I like to do that. I like to do that.
So what are you wrapping it in? The butcher paper?
That's just butcher paper. Yeah.
So what's the, you said you start at 125.
On the, yeah.
Do you then bump it up?
Yeah,
Or,
about
I mean,
every hour or so, I take it up another, 25 degrees. And then around 275 is where it spends most of its time. And then the last couple of hours, you're looking at 300. Because the pit is also agreeing with that increase in temperature, too. I mean, you think about it, it's getting happy, especially in the winter months, it's happier, it's warmer, it's kind of getting into its groove. And the same thing with the meat. A piece of meat like a brisket or a pork butt, if you put that in any cooker that's already at 250 or 275 degrees, it's going to seize up on it. It's going to react like, oh wow, what am I doing now? But if you start out really, really slow and work it up, it's just a more gentle approach, and there's less devastation. You put that thing in there, it was too hot, it just draws up. It's like the Chinese handcuff thing,
So
if
I'll
you
be
work-
cooking on a big green egg.
If
and
you're
I'll have the place setter. So is that still considered heat from the bottom since
Yep.
it's coming around?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And again, experiment with it. Try it, see how it works. Next time, maybe leave it longer, maybe not as long.
Yeah, I don't know how to get the green egg that low in temperature.
That low,
Like when
less
20 or
fuel.
something?
Less fuel.
Yeah.
Less fuel.
But then you add more later.
Less fuel. Yeah.
What wood would you recommend for smoking?
I use cherry and oak, but for brisket, oak is good. Oak is always a good place to start. I'm gonna come around right here and make that first cut, separating the flat from the point. And then over here you got this. You can cut some ends off there.
I was curious to see how much what that mohawk is if it's big. Or do you end up with the big chunk of fat? Do you leave that on there?
What, that right
Yeah,
there?
yeah.
You
That-
can
where the
now.
mohawk was.
Now, if I were serving this at a restaurant or something, I would probably cut that out. You've probably seen me do that before.
You probably have, but I probably wouldn't pay attention.
Just like then you just
That's
put them
my
back
eyes were
together.
too
And
hungry.
that,
Cut the middle
nicer.
section out and then.
Yep.
Yeah, that's cool.
Right there. So this is the point. You start getting into the third and fourth pieces. It starts to get real pretty. Same thing with this guy over here. Good stuff. I like to go about a half an inch thick with the point. Half an inch. Looks nice, huh?
Yeah. I sent a picture to my dad.
Be like, look what I'm doing today.